All right, we're recording. Hey, everybody. Sean Pendergast with Sports Radio 610. I'm very excited for this conversation because there's a great event coming up, an awesome golf tournament for an awesome cause. And I get a chance to spend some time on this Zoom call here talking about it with a really good friend of mine. Normally, I'm sitting in his restaurant eating a nice plate of chicken neti and some shrimp OCL, but this time I get to sit and talk about CanCare, which is an amazing cause. And of course, I'm talking about the legendary Houston restaurateur, Johnny Carrabba. Johnny, it's great to talk to you, man.
Sean, well, every time I see you, it's always at my restaurant. I can't thank you enough for you and Amy's support all the time.
Yeah, of course. Well, you know it. We love going there. We love spending time there. And this sounds like you've got a great event coming up. Let me just lay out the details here real quick, because I know this is a cause that's very meaningful to you, and cancer is something that affects all of us. Lost my mom to cancer, so this is something I'm super sympathetic towards. But the name of the charity is CanCare. I'm going to let you describe exactly what CanCare is, how it was founded, how you got involved with it. But there's a golf tournament coming up on October the 9th at Memorial Park Golf Course that's sold out. But I know there's other ways that people can get involved to help out. But let's let the people know here right off the top, what exactly is CanCare and how did you get involved with this?
Well, my mother, I think everybody pretty much knows my mother. Her name is Rosie, and she's there every day at the Carrabbas on Woodway and Voss. And, she came up with breast cancer several years ago. And there was a young lady named Donna Lewis who worked at CanCare. And what CanCare does, it kind of helps you, you're first of all, you're really nervous when you find out a loved one has cancer or you have cancer. And what Donna Lewis became a family friend, but she walked my mother and she held my mother's hand every day while she was going to MD Anderson. And again, she knew how to handle my mom. And and that's when I really fell in love with it. I'm gonna tell you something. People never forget really how you treat their parents and how you treat their children. And so I fell in love with CanCare at that very moment. Even though my dad, my sister, and I were there for my mom, it was uncharted waters. So that's where CanCare comes in. They hug you through the process.
And these are people who have been through this process before. These are cancer survivors, people who've been through it with their families and things like that. These are people who, cancer is something that doesn't have a roadmap, and these are people who can help kind of guide you through these rough waters, who've been through it themselves, right?
Oh, exactly. I think it's always best to talk to somebody that's been through the journey, anything in life, but cancer, it's hard to even, I don't even like to say the word, but we didn't know anything about it. We didn't know how to love. I mean, we knew how to love her, but we didn't know what she was going through. And people at CanCare, I keep on mentioning Donna Lewis because she became part of our family. Mm-hmm. And it helps you. It embraces you. And so, yeah, they've been through it.
Johnny Carrabba joining me. CanCare is the charity, the golf tournament coming up on Monday, October the 9th. So I feel like, Johnny, too, like that's like cancer is something that I think, as from a philanthropy standpoint, we're hyper focused on, but there's, a lot of it's focused on, curing cancer and finding treatments for cancer. This seems to me to be really unique. Just, we know that at least for the foreseeable future, there's going to be a lot of people going through this, and to be able to help kind of manage that process, and not just for, I would say, the patient, but it sounds like it really brought a lot of comfort to people like you who are along on that journey with her for this too.
Like I said, I hadn't been through it yet. I have so many friends and relatives that have this dreadful disease. I haven't been through it yet, but I think anytime you can get coach, they always say stay strong, but talking to somebody who's been through it, it's comforting, and I think that I know it's medicine, but a lot of times in life, it's a mindset. And I think what CanCare does, it gets you to keep a positive attitude, not to be overwhelmed, and I think anybody going through it, and I have something here I wrote down, but I'm not a big, internet kind of guy, but, it's www www.cancare.org, that would be, and let me tell you something. If a doctor came to me right now and said that I had cancer, CanCare would be my first phone call. Because I need somebody to hold my hand and walk me through it.
So what? Take me through, Johnny. What exactly is the organization? Because it sounds like you laid out what the mission is. You've laid out what it's meant to your family. For people who are moved by what they're hearing from you, people who are maybe going through this right now, can you take us through exactly what the CanCare organization looks like, and what do these funds go to, and things like that?
Well, first of all, Darcy, who runs the show, she's the best boss I've ever had, figuratively speaking, but she's really on top of it. But all these funds, and what I like about this charity is that I'm talking about a large percentage goes to the patient, the support of the patient. It's not going to some big organization that's going to spend it up through corporate spending. That's what I like about it. And this money just helps support all of the people that need the support. And I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense with that, but it goes to support the organization, so the organization and their people can take care of our loved ones.
Yeah. Give us the scope. How long has the organization been around? How many people have they helped? What's the scope of, like, literally, like, today? What's the scope of what they're doing?
Well, all I can tell you is that I know for sure for 30 years. Yeah. This is the 30th annual golf tournament. Again, I know it's 30 years, but started off really small here in Houston, and it's just completely blossomed. And something else about CanCare, it's like the who's who of Houston is involved. Yeah. And it's all about the support. And when you get, Houston is a very giving city, and it's just like this right here. I'm the tournament chair. I've never been really a good chairperson, I don't think, but I'm just going to let you know that Michael Wiesenthal approached me because he's a cancer survivor and he used CanCare. He's heavily involved. I've been knowing Michael since we were 15 years old. Then there's a guy named Jeff Zinn, and then Titus Harris. And Titus Harris, his father used CanCare, and then naturally Darcy, they called me up one day and said, "Hey, we want to meet with you," and they came to the restaurant. And I have a policy that yes is the answer, what's the question. And I think giving back, has been a big part of all of our lives. But when these heavyweights came in to meet with me, I have a policy. Yes is the answer. What's the question? They didn't tell me what they were coming to my restaurant for, but maybe I felt a little peer pressure. But then I thought about how it helped my mother, and so with the organization, I just think that everybody involved, from running the organization to supporting, just like the people I just mentioned, so it's a winning combination.
Well, it's a perfect fit in Houston because I think you mentioned all the just the societal heavyweights that are involved, but I think two things when I think of Houston, in terms of what you were just saying. Houston is maybe the most generous philanthropic city I've ever lived in. And you add to that the fact that I do think it is the mecca of cancer treatment. People come from far and wide for MD Anderson and because of the medical center and things like that. It really does feel like CanCare is almost the quintessential Houston cause, don't you think?
Well, Sean, I'm still a working man. I'm at my restaurants pretty much every day. There's not a day that doesn't go by. There's not a day, I promise you, it doesn't go by where I'll see somebody and you can tell they might be a cancer patient or not. And they're coming from all over the world, actually, United States, all over the world coming here. And so I talk to them. I don't know how they find out about, the little restaurant on Kirby, but some kind of way, I don't know if the hospital's sending them here or where they living sends them here. but we talk, and every day I do. Most of the time, not most of them, all the time, I'm always telling them if they need help, and I give them the information to CanCare. But then also, my mother is a very a religious person, and she has these medals that have been blessed by the Pope. You know, naturally we're raised Catholic, and this coat, these medals, these religious medals, like I said, have been blessed by the Pope, and it's like the miraculous heart of Mary. My mother could tell you a lot more about it, but she has hundreds of them, and she always said, when you meet somebody that has cancer, give them one of these medals. So I go to my car to get a medal for these people. But you're right about Houston. Yeah, I'm a native Houstonian, but we have the best giving spirit, I think, of any community.
Wow. Yeah, no doubt about it. CanCare.org. People are hearing this interview right now. I want to make sure that we keep hammering that website, that address, so that people who are hearing this, and maybe they themselves, a family member going through cancer, so that at the very least they know about the organization CanCare.org. So you mentioned it. You're chairing the golf tournament that's coming up on October the 9th, right, at Memorial Golf Golf.
Yep. Yep.
And Charlie Epps, who is going to be Charlie, legendary golf doctor, legendary swing doctor, who's Angel Cabrera and others that he's been the coach to, and he himself, a cancer survivor. His wife took care of his wife through cancer. You know, Charlie's story is well chronicled. He's going to be honored at this tournament, and that's got to be a great thrill for you to be chairing something that Charlie's going to be honored at.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, you know, when like I said, I'm a native Houstonian. When you think of golf, yes, you know, maybe Mr. Jackie Burke comes to mind. There's a lot of people that come to mind, but my friend Charlie Epps, for him to accept this, with me, but Charlie Epps is Houston golf, and he's not just Houston golf. You know, he's pretty much worldwide golf. And then I tell you what's really cool is Jim Nance is he can't be here, but he's recording a tribute to Mr. Epps. He would laugh if I called him that. But and let me tell you something about Charlie. He's not lost for words. So if I called him Mr. Epps, he might be calling me right now. Let me know that this ain't right. Don't call me Mr. Epps, boy. But yeah. And something else I want to bring up, Sean, before I forget, is that even though the tournament is sold out, if somebody wants to give, all they have to do is, again, there's another www.cancer.org/golf. And again, no pressure, but if you're in the mood to give, I'm telling you, I back this organization up with everything.
CanCare.org/golf. If people want to get involved, just to donate. Sold out, 30 teams. You're going to be playing in this thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm playing with two of my high school friends, and I'm playing with my son. And then, naturally, I contributed and got a couple extra teams, but and I love going back to Memorial Park because we're talking about Houston is a great city, but think about Memorial Park. That's a pretty fine place to have in our backyard.
Oh yeah, for sure. How do you are in your restaurants all the time? Like, what for you? I know this is for a great cause, obviously, but for you finding 5 or 6 hours to go play golf for a cause like this, I'm sure it's a no-brainer, obviously, but you strike me as somebody who's probably a pretty good golfer, Johnny. I'm just guessing.
Well, I'm not as good as some of the guys I mentioned earlier, like Titus Harris and Jeff Zinn. They're really good. One day when I grow up, I want to be as good as them. But golf is my hobby. Yeah. I don't get to. I play once a week right now. But I think I like working too, though. So, but I love golf, and golf's been a big part of my life. I look at golf as kind of therapy for me. To get outside, to kind of get away. A psychologist told me one time to keep playing golf. He says very therapeutic. And I said, what do you mean? Hitting one way to the right is not therapeutic. And I think everybody knows what I mean by hitting a ball way to the right. It's not very therapeutic. And the woman said, the therapist said, yep, She said, but you ain't thinking about anything else. So it's because golf is a good getaway. I'm not thinking about the customer complaints at the restaurant when I hit one dead right. I'm thinking about I'm in trouble. I need to work on this game.
Yeah.
And I go to the club a lot, man, just to hit balls.
Yeah.
just kind of focus on something different than rolling meatballs.
Yeah. Clear your head a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That is therapy right there. If you find something where you can just escape for a little bit, whether it's golf, taking a
Fishing,
walk, music, fishing, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, Sean, I know that I remember a friend of mine, he had a son, and the son, special needs, and they love going fishing. And the wind is blowing, the water's real murky, they're not catching any fish. And the father, like the rest of us, we get impatient and complaining about the wind, complaining about the water conditions, complaining about the tide. And he was complaining about not catching any fish. And his son, special needs, I don't need to really say that again, but his son, who keeps things in the simplest form, he goes, Dad, fishing is not all about catching fish.
Wow.
And I heard this about 20 years ago, and I never really forgot that, because sometimes we get wrapped up in being really good, let's say at golf, really good at golf. Well, very few people are going to be, playing on the PGA Tour or being, scratch golfer.
Yeah.
And I think golf is a very healthy sport.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes just the act of golfing. It's not your score,
Right. Yeah, you're right.
It's just the act of getting out there. Well, this sounds like it's going to be a great event, Johnny. CanCare.org/golf. Again, the tournament's sold out, but if you're listening to what we're saying right now and you want to make a donation or even just learn more about CanCare, it sounds like an amazing organization. October the 9th is the tournament. Johnny Carrabba is chairing that tournament, of course, legendary restaurateur here in Houston. Johnny, I always enjoy talking to you. The next time we'll talk, I'm sure it'll be over at the restaurant. Amy and I, it's funny. Amy and I, we live right across the street, right across Kirby from you, kind of corner. And we're probably strategizing on what our next move is going to be, like where we're going to move next. And it's already been, if there's no negotiation going on, we just kind of negotiated with the gods. And we said, well, we know we're not moving anywhere further than walking distance from the original.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, I know you got to go, but I got to tell you something, man. When you come in, and naturally, I love Amy. Her dad went to the same high school we all went to, and we have a bond there. But the thing, I don't really get a complex too often, but when you come in the restaurant, more people know you than know me. It kind of hurts my feelings.
I feel so important when I go there. There's waiters coming up and hugging me like I'm somebody. It's. I was hanging out somewhere last Friday and I meet Amy out. She's like, "Where are we going?" I'm like, "We're walking over to Carrabba's. I got to go feel good about myself."
Hey, my staff don't even say hello to me. They love you and Amy.
And I love them, and I love you. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, well, that's good stuff, Johnny. Really a pleasure to talk to you about this. CanCare.org. Best of luck with the golf tournament. I'll probably see you before then.
Yeah.
Enjoy talking with you, and we'll do it again soon.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, thank you. Let's see. I'll hit stop.